Hello and welcome, everybody. I am so excited to be here this morning. It's just me today, Susie von Menzenkamp, and I'm coming to you live from Ireland. And the reason for our new time today, it's just for this episode, is because our special guest is on the other side of the planet, and she's in Australia, in Perth. So to get our times to work and to be live together, this is how it's going to be: 9 a.m. in Ireland and 5 p.m., I believe, in Perth. So we're excited to be here. This is, can you believe it? Season 3, episode 31. And it's a really exciting episode. I've been immersed in this. The author of, our guest is the author of an amazing, well, 3 books, but the one that I'm reading at the moment has really caught my attention. It's out for release soon. And what else can I say about her? She's got a psychic background. She's an intuitive healer. She's really living her truth, and she's an inspiration for all of us. She has a background in healing, channeling, um, creating amazing retreats for people, and as I said, the author of 3 books, which we're going to get into over the course of our conversation together. So, without further ado, a really warm welcome to our guest today, Rhiannon Heins. Welcome, Rhiannon.
Hi, Susie. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me and for shuffling the times around so that I could join you guys. And yeah, it's beautiful to be here.
We are so glad that we made this connection, because Rhiannon's story is just what we've been doing throughout these last 3 seasons on in12d. It's really looking at people who make this profound shift in their lives, like from living what would be classed as maybe ordinary, down to earth, day to day lifestyle and lifestyle choices, I guess. And then when something hits or something lands differently or something cracks open, or and they make that shift to become more living their truth, I guess, really. And life becomes a lot more extraordinary when you live that truth. So do you want to take us back, Rhiannon, to maybe one of the many? I know there were a sequence of events that happened for you, but one that you'd like to share to take us to, what it was like from that ordinary to taking the leap of faith to the extraordinary for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love what you're doing with this ordinary to extraordinary, because the word extraordinary, like, we perceive that people have these extraordinary lives that are somehow out of reach to the masses. But really, the truth is, we're all here to live our version of extraordinary. And it's so accessible to each and every one of us if we just attune to our hearts and follow the path that's laid out for us. And yeah, there was a moment in my life where I couldn't ignore that path that was laid out for me any longer. I I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Susie. I've just got a little interruption here.
No problem.
Is it okay to pause in this live and just come back in one moment?
Yeah, I'll I'll
I'm
um
so
I'll
sorry.
talk a little bit about your book while you
Okay.
take care of what you need to take
All
care of.
right. One
Yeah.
moment.
So while we're waiting just a few moments for Rihanna to come back, Rhiannon, not Rihanna, I'm going to show you here that the book that is out now for pre-release is her book called Story of Soul. I'm halfway through the book myself, and I have to say it's a beautifully written. It's semi-autobiographical, and I know she'll talk more about that when she gets back. And it's also um there's a real metaphysical element to it too, maybe, where it's set in the dreamscape of uh what life is like in the living in the matrix, let's say. And then how we kind of marry up living really from our soul. So it's a beautiful kind of story of the soul. And Rhiannon has it available now for a pre-release copy. And if you order that, you can also get a free training on energy mastery with Rhiannon. So her story is really worth holding on. If you are here with us live, please do bear with us. And she's also an amazing mom of two beautiful little kitties, little girls. So as we all know, as moms, that takes the priority no matter what we're doing. So thanks for being with us.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for your patience. But yeah, for me to make this work, sometimes it means just having the kids here, and so
No
that's
wobbers. I was just saying a little bit about your book, Story of Soul, and that's available for the pre-release copy now to be ordered, and the option to do a training course with you. So before we talk more about that, let's hear that story, that point,
yeah,
that jump off point for you, because I think that's really pivotal in your
yeah.
your
Okay,
life took
cool.
a different direction.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually the story is going to lead into how these two little humans came to be as well. But but prior to 7 years ago, and I use that as a marker of my oldest daughter, who's nearly 7. So prior to 7 years ago, I was deeply on the spiritual path. I was the owner actually of a yoga studio business. So I had 2 yoga studios and I was teaching yoga teacher trainings, and um, I was deeply psychic and but playing around with tarot cards and doing readings for friends and friends and friends. Um, but my life was disjointed because there was one part of me that was so connected and so devoted to following my true path. And there was another part of me that was just stuck, like stuck in this rigid way of being. And I lived in an apartment at the time, and the apartment in the distance overlooked beautiful, like beautiful countryside, but it was in the distance, and I would like almost just like long for that distant countryside from my apartment, you know? And I longed for a more expansive life, but the way I was finding that expansion was through partying, like through partying. I wasn't severe because I had too much awareness, but it was like the part of me that couldn't let go of that escapism. The part of
Mm.
me that felt trapped longed to feel connected and expansive. And I longed to go to like music festivals that were in nature. And I loved the feeling of just like different psychedelic experiences that would just open my heart and just make me feel deep connection. But something was off, you know, that didn't serve me. There was something that was deeply disjointed. And the partner that I was with was very tied up in this disjointed lifestyle. That's
Mm.
particularly the most toxic elements of it. And then my mum said to me one day, "Do you want to go to Bali, Rhiannon? I'm going to go and I'm going to do a juice fast. We'll do heaps of yoga." And I was like, "Yes, let's go." So we went to Bali, and I was still with my boyfriend at the time, but I went with just my mum. And like 5 days into this Bali trip, we were feeling so amazing, like fasting and Kundalini yoga and sound healing. And we were just high on life. And my mum got talking. I saw my mum talking to this beautiful man outside, like a juice bar at the yoga barn. And I walked over and I sat with my mum who was talking to this man. And I was like, oh my goodness, this guy is so hot. He's so gorgeous. And we were talking and I was like, he's like an old friend, you know, it's like I'd known him my entire life. And we just spoke and spoke, and it was like, we couldn't stop the conversation. And I was very aware that I had a boyfriend. So we just hung out as friends, but my God, the chemistry, the tension, all of it, the connection was unbelievable. And the night before my boyfriend was coming to meet us actually in Bali, my boyfriend and dad were coming to meet my mum and I. The night before, I was in such a mess. Like, what the hell do I do with this?
Yeah.
What do I do with this? And that's when I started to pray, like more than I've ever prayed. That's when I started to really ask the way.
Show me.
What is the
Yeah.
way? Show me. And every fiber of my being said, jump, like jump, say goodbye to the old guy, jump.
Oh my
and
God. That is
and I
so.
did. But the next day, the plot twist is the next day the boyfriend came. He had a ring in his pocket. He'd
Oh
asked
my
my dad
God.
if he could propose.
Oh,
But
the poor guy.
Yeah, he's a nice man, but, he wasn't assisting in my expansion, and he
Yeah.
went home. So I met up with Scott. 5 weeks later, I'm pregnant. And that was the
Wow.
7-year-old.
Wow. There you see, when it's meant to be, it's just meant to be. You can't deny it. Wow. So,
Yeah, and we spend so much time trying to curate our lives, trying to ask, "What way do I go?" And actually, if we just let go of the reins,
yeah.
everything is there for us, every step we need to take.
So you really needed to dig very. I guess it's interesting that it came out of at towards the end of your retreat, where you were able to cleanse, where you were able to really clear and have that time to do a lot of the, I suppose, soul searching and meditations and yoga and things like that, to really be present in your body, in your life. And then you're primed, I feel, would you agree, to be able to have the courage to take that leap, that there was enough clarity in you to say, I've just got to go for this now. Ring and, saying
Yeah,
no to the ring and yes to absolutely not having a clue, even who the
yeah,
person is, I guess.
I would say the clarity that I cultivated over that week certainly helped, but I think the
Yeah.
energy was so strong. When something is so predetermined on our path, it doesn't matter what frequency we're in, that it we'll be hit by a truck if we need to show us the way to go. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think for me it was a more gracious knowing, because I have been in that state of clarity. But I think it doesn't matter where we are. If we're fresh
Yeah.
off 7 days of yoga, or if we're in the deepest shadowy trench of our forgetting, if something is coming that's our destiny, that is our absolute highest timeline,
Hmm.
like, we will get that message.
Yeah, I think I read in when I was reading your book, Story of Soul, that like sometimes it comes as an initial sort of a flicker, like a light feather, and then slowly but surely the kind of impressions get stronger and stronger, almost to the feeling of like just in your gut, like you've just got to do something. Like so, I
Yeah.
suppose that's kind of the way that we're being softly guided initially. And when we're at more ease, we can follow that kind of in the flow of that kind of guidance. But I
Yeah.
think it does help a lot to have done some work on your, trusting your intuition along the way and following that inner compass or that guidance system. Do you think?
Yeah, well, absolutely, because if we're not listening to the subtlety, then, as you say, it's not gonna be subtle anymore. We're gonna need the equivalent of being hit by the truck, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the more we listen and listen to the whispers of our intuition, the less we need those radical shakeups. So the most obvious example of this is our health, when you I'm like, for me, the easiest example to give is coffee, because I love coffee.
Hmm.
But, after having a coffee every morning for a month, or I drink the coffee and then I'm exhausted, like straight after. And that's the little tickle that says, "Stop drinking coffee, Rhiannon." And next day, have a coffee, because I'm addicted to it. Even more tired, the tickle's getting stronger. "Stop drinking the coffee, Rhiannon." And if I keep going and keep going, next minute, like, I'm laid out in bed because I have adrenal fatigue. I'm not
Mm.
drinking coffee at the moment, but that's the equivalent of like, that happens in our health all the time. We're getting these tickles to just show us the way, show us how to care for ourselves, show us the path. And if we don't listen, then the signs just get stronger and stronger and stronger, but they don't need to be strong if we're listening. If we're just
That is
listening to the subtleties.
that is so true. So let's move along with your story in terms of like it must have been quite, there was so much of the unknown, but it must have been quite an adventure at the same time, like such an exciting stage of your life to really step into not knowing and living your truth.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing that was so powerful about that moment was not just stepping into my truth and choosing love over fear. The most powerful moment about that was meeting a partner who was is what I would call like a divine union for me,
Yeah.
because being with Scott has fast tracked both of our lives at a rate that is so exponential. Even when I say 7 years, it seems weird. I'm like, what? Isn't that lifetimes?
Mm,
Because something happened with Scott and I where we were seeing the fullest version of us, each other from the beginning. We could see our highest potential, and we were like 100% in support and honor of that version of one another, whilst creating space for each other to do their own thing. And because of that, our individual paths have just accelerated so much. So yes, there was a pivotal change in having the courage to take a courageous leap. But I think the greatest energetic shift in the last 7 years since that moment has been being in a marriage, in a partnership that is so supportive with someone who is deeply also devoted to his own path.
beautiful, beautiful. And so
Mhm.
I suppose, like when you read the story of Soul, it's really, it's all beautifully sort of unfolding as a story should, when you're telling a good story. So, but obviously there were probably moments where your conditioned mind, your conditioning, your born the fears that everybody carries around with them were they encroaching? Were they, making an appearance, or like how did you navigate your own personal fear of not knowing?
Yeah. Well, we always are having these, right? Every layer of our conditioned mind arises at any given point of our life so that it can be recognized and then transformed. And for me, the programs are subtle, so harder to recognize.
Mm,
For people who have had an obviously abusive parents or childhood, the programs are obvious, worthlessness and despair and on these really dark programs. But for me, I come from a really beautiful family, an English family, and my mum and dad have always been supportive, but still very still very to a certain framework. Not so
mm,
much anymore. My mum is very awakened now, and my dad as well. But growing up, there was a certain framework around, make sure you get at least a trade. Do whatever you
mm.
want, but it's good to have a trade. It's good to get a mortgage and get on the property ladder. Like just more subtle programs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So they were more insidious in a way, because nothing I do in my path follows any of that. Like
yeah,
every way I make money has nothing to do with a trade. It has nothing to do with any qualification. And so the biggest fear or program that I've had to release has been the fear of appearing destructive
mm-hmm,
uh, within my family sort of safety net, the fear of appearing out of control to my dad, the fear of appearing reckless, walking away from relationships, walking away from houses, selling businesses, change after change after change. Am I these thoughts? Am I just non-committal? Do I not have staying power? Am I just
mm,
not very resilient? But the truth is, I just can't be in anything anymore that is in any way inauthentic or not aligned to my path. And the interesting thing is now my beautiful dad has come to see my life transform from living this way. And he
mhm.
used to be afraid that I was destructive.
Yeah,
And now he is so supportive of all my decisions because he just sees my life like blossoming.
beautiful.
So as we follow our path, we reprogram those who programmed us.
That's great, isn't it? Like this awakening isn't just in your life, and that direct effect that it has on everybody else in your family line, in your lineage, I suppose, ancestrally even as well, beyond this lifetime. I would imagine that, we keep coming back here. We keep coming back to have this human experience, and you know how we find our way is, it's so different every time we come back, I guess. We've different challenges. So, like, I know for you, your intuition was really your guidance system, and your waking up to realize the qualities that you had, and giving yourself the space to be the healer that you are, and to channel, I suppose, is how you might describe it, this energy system that you bring people on retreats, I believe, and you work together for over like 7 days, and people train to do it for other people as well through the intuitive rebirthing. So do you want to tell us a little bit how you got to that, and how that
Yeah.
works a little?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I'm a rebel in my heart. I'm a rebel.
Yeah.
And that just, I think we all are in our truth, because anything that doesn't fit us, we shouldn't be bending or shaping ourselves to fit a mold. So I think in truth, we're all rebels. And I trained in so many different things, as a yoga teacher, and I would do these yoga classes, all different styles of yoga. But all I actually wanted to do was just wait till the bit where everyone was laying in shavasana at the end, and just go like touch them and speak things to them. That was all I wanted to do. And then I did breath work, and I wanted to sort of do more with the breath. I didn't want to just say in, out, in, out. I wanted to explore more. And every time someone would come to an event that I would run, they would ask me, what kind of breath work is this? And they want to put me in a box. And I
Mm,
was like, it's none of that. It just is. It's
mm,
just something that we're sharing together. Does it have to have a name? And I got so tired of having to put myself in some sort of modality or some sort of label. And so I just let it all go. And when I was having my clients come to me for healing sessions, instead of thinking, what can I do for them from here? I just started to ask here, and I started to pray to my higher self, to their higher self, to the divine. I used to say, like, I've got this window, I've got this time with this person. Like, show me how I can serve them to the deepest capacity that I can in this moment. Like, show me. And because I am psychic, which we all are, it was very easy for me to get information about what to do. And so I just started to follow that above everything else. I just did exactly what I was told in this sort of channeling before people came. And I noticed that by following this, everybody that came had something to release.
mm,
Whether it's like what we were speaking about, these programs, these traumas, just something. Everyone had something to release. Then after the release, everyone had something to remember, an aspect of themselves they were coming home to. So I realized it was intuitive rebirth, a channeled death and a channeled homecoming. So that's what I started to call my energy work sessions. And then I started to teach others how to do this. But I wasn't teaching, I have never taught anyone how to do anything in my way. But what I've shown is that we, as healers, any healer or space holder has the capacity to be so attuned that we can serve one person in a single moment to the highest possible degree that we can through our
mm.
intention and our channeling. So it's teaching that, so psychic mastery, and then teaching different techniques using breath and sound and movement and vibration to create whatever the channeling says, basically. So it's a modality, it's an anti-modality modality.
Yeah. Well,
But
it's so
because
heart
it's
driven.
empowering, yeah.
Yeah, it's really heart driven. It's heart led, and as you said, it's not coming from the intellect. It's not something that you read tons and tons of manuals and practice all the time. It's a state of being present, being heart based, and then tuning in to that intuitive guidance and allowing that information to flow through to, and maybe is that how it works when people are on the receiving end of that? Like, I'd love to hear, some experiences of people when they receive that level of, I guess it's attention, it's love.
That's literally all it is, Susie. It's loving presence,
Yeah.
loving presence. And if you go on the Instagram for Intuitive Rebirth, it's like these amazing videos of these huge releases, and people think it's Kundalini or they think it's breath work or a specific thing. And I get asked, what's the technique? And it's like the technique is loving presence. Essentially, that is the technique,
Yeah.
because usually when we go to see healers, or not usually, but often when we go to see healers, there's an agenda that isn't completely aligned with the agenda of the most sacred healing possible for that person. So those ulterior agendas could be the healer wanting to do a really good job, the healer wanting to be successful in their work as a healer. Do you know what I'm saying? These are actually
Yeah.
agendas. There are other motives in the space.
Yeah.
But if they're not there, and the person is the healer is just holding a space, and they're in their heart and not in their head, and the space is so unconditionally loving that what it does, it creates a bath, an energy bath of loving presence for the person who's receiving. And love is the medicine that exposes and transforms all things. So if there's something present within the room, within that body, that
Hmm.
isn't love, it will be exposed by unconditional loving presence. So if there's an entity, if there's trauma, if there's lower frequencies, without even trying, unconditional loving presence exposes and transforms that.
Wow. That's it.
Yeah,
It's so simple, isn't it? And yet
yeah.
we're sort of being programmed and conditioned with all of this other kind of noise, and that kind of gets in the way, like you said. And I think it's like whenever we're having a tough time, even outside of a healing situation or a retreat, we usually all we need is somebody to just sit with us and be with us, and or help us to be with our whatever is moving through us at that time. Like, so that's that loving presence, that just a state of allowing as well, I guess, isn't it? It's letting it be there without it taking control, you know.
Yeah, I'm just going to answer you in 1 second. I'm going to mute my
Yeah,
mic and
no problem. We're a live audience here. We're a live show, as you can see, and Rhiannon is coming from Perth in Australia, and she has two beautiful little kitties, and sometimes they have to come in.
yes, but
So,
I'm just going to allow Arwen to stand here and just continue to talk,
yeah.
because yeah.
So love is the medicine. Let's get back to that. Love is
Yeah.
the medicine, essentially, isn't it?
But beyond having to have someone present for us, we can actually be unconditional loving presence for ourselves. So what you're saying, Susie, if you're like coming back from a retreat space or back from an event or back from a healing, and you're struggling and you don't have that person to hold space for you,
Mm,
just hold it for yourself. And we
yeah.
can't hold that space for ourselves if we're perpetually busy, perpetually running the rat race, job after job after job. So if anyone listening is struggling, having these heavy emotions or things coming up, all you need to do is literally go sit on the earth or go sit in a
Mhm.
beautiful room on the ground and give yourself unconditional loving presence. So that means not trying to fix yourself, not trying to change yourself, but just allowing, allowing. And Arwen is the perfect example, right? So like
Yeah,
she comes in and there's no resistance, and then all of a sudden, like, the energy just moves. The energy just moves. So thank you, Arwen, for the for
exactly.
being the
To
metaphor.
show us. Yeah,
So if most of us, like, whatever we're feeling, we try and change it, you know? Even in the spirituality and meditation world, it's like, "Oh, I've got this anxiety, I'm gonna fix it with this meditation." But what about if the meditation is just being with the anxiety, just sitting with it and saying like a child, "I allow, I allow."
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And just being okay with not being okay. I think that's what we've had to really discover. I know we had that on a previous episode, being okay with not being okay in while while you're in that space, as opposed to, oh, I better turn on the TV, or maybe I should open a bottle of wine, or oh, maybe I can, exercise away this feeling or emotion that I'm having. So it's okay to have it in real time. I think that's what's so important here.
You know, my intuition said that it wasn't a good it wasn't gonna be a good day with the kids. And I might have to just to cut the live short, Susie.
Sure, no problem. We can do that.
But but just to finish what you said, being okay with not being okay is the greatest gift that we can give ourselves, because can you not do that? That's not cool. But I'm gonna go because I've got two monkeys who haven't listened to their instructions today, and I'm I'm
No
very, very
problem.
sorry. But
No problem whatsoever.
thank you.
It's been lovely having you as our guest today, and I'll just share again that the book, which is ready now for pre-order, and you're giving a free course with that, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, so the book is available. Well, the book launches on the 3rd of March, but it's available for pre-release now. So if you go to the website, you can get the ebook copy.
That's cool. I've just put the website on the bottom of our screen here, so anybody who is looking for the course or to order the book can get it on rhiannonheins.net. And look, we leave you go because you're a busy lady there, and I'm excited for you and for your beautiful girls. And it's been a joy. Let's get you back on another time, and we'll hear the next stage of your story. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We're really grateful for your attention today. And we'll get Rhiannon back shortly in another couple of weeks, maybe after Christmas, and we'll hear some more of her amazing story.